the weather with a cold, but we're not feeling as bad as Jose Mourinho today after Man United have had to come from behind to force a draw with Burnley, one that I was celebrating, Craig, like a cup final. But
Is that where it's come?
That's what we've
Is that where we are?
So
Is that where we are?
how did Man United get to this?
Well, I don't know. I can't speak for United supporters, but I can speak for myself. Is it just me, or are there a lot of people fed up with the excuses?
Yes.
Right? Drop points against Leicester when they were down to 10 men. I understand they missed chances, but that's part of the game. Burnley at home, okay, they're an organised team, they're having a great season by their standards, but they too have injuries to key players and suspensions, lots of them, right? You're at home, you're Man United, you've spent hundreds of millions. You drop points, you're 2-0 down, you go to a press conference as the manager of this football club after the game, and you start talking about Manchester City. You start talking about what they're spending and what they're doing and how they're playing. And before the game, you're talking about fixture scheduling from the Premier League. Well, how's that affecting the game against Leicester and the game against Burnley? I mean, it is so hypocritical. It is scary.
He should take the blame then.
His rhetoric, his constant weekly rhetoric and haverings are just wearing thin now. And I understand United are in second place, but is second place good enough for that club? I'm asking the question.
Not.
Well, people will say, well, Chelsea are off the pace. Chelsea won the league last season. They won the league last season. And before that, they were successful as well in recent history. So, stop looking at other people and fix your own house. You've spent money. You're talking about spending 50 million on fullbacks. Luke Shaw was 30 million.
Yep.
Rio Ferdinand, by the way, in 2002 as a centre-half was 30 million plus. Now, you do the maths from 16 years ago or thereabouts to what that would be worth now. So all the clubs are spending money, and I think that's what a lot of people are getting fed up, myself included, and maybe Man United fans around the world. I don't know, right? I don't care, but what I'm saying is your manager has to stop making excuses and get a better tune out of the players that he's got.
Well, let's look at the players that he's got, and these are our player ratings after today's games based on ESPNFC.com. Craig, any arguments there? Anyone you think should be higher or lower?
Well, Ashley Young should be higher. I mean, Ashley Young was everything good.
Yes.
Later in the game was coming out, Ashley Young. I don't know what the love in with Paul Pogba is, because he doesn't do it, and he doesn't do enough for me at the moment. He does not do enough. He is supposed to be one of the elite, the top 10 elite players in world football. Am I saying that? No, I'm not. I might see it now and again. And Ibrahimovic had it's difficult for him, the injury, lack of game time, coming into a side that's not performing well. And then we get to Lukaku up front. All the talk in the summer was Romelu Lukaku or Harry Kane or Alvaro Morata. My God, he's well at the bottom of that list.
Well, yeah, I think he's answered that question so far.
Well, the big question with Lukaku was when the pressure really gets cranked up at Old Trafford and the manager's under pressure and he's sort of trying to fan the flames around and make sure he's not the only one getting bumped, and the crowd are howling and City are running away with it. Could Lukaku come up with the goods? And the answer is, early season, yes. When the pressure's been cranked up now, no.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Day has come and gone, and so have all the festive Premier League fixtures today.
Oh, hold on, Boxing Day is still here, as we
Boxing Day is still here.
The games have come and gone.
But the games have come and gone. Craig, let's have a look at some of the results and the table. We'll start off at the bottom half because there was some scrappy stuff there. Swansea City, after being absolutely hammered by Liverpool, firmly there at the bottom.
Well, Swansea City are in dire straits, absolutely dire straits. As are West Brom, who could do with a Tony Pulis type character to get them out. But they've just sacked him. Bournemouth as well in there. A mad game against West Ham, who've now sort of started to clamber out there. And interestingly, Crystal Palace, who everybody had them doomed after that horrendous start to the season, but an experienced manager.
They climbed their way there.
And Roy Hodgson clambering their way out. A bit worried for one of our colleagues who's a big Southampton fan.
Flirting with danger.
Because they are heading south and heading south fast. So that's kind of how it looks at the bottom. It's slightly more interesting at the other end.
That's bad news for me, though, who has 3 Southampton players in my fantasy Premier League team. But let's not go there. Let's look at the top half of the standings now. Here they are. Big results for Liverpool and Spurs. Man United struggling there, and Man City just, they've yet to play, but they're really in no
Well, that's how I had the top 4 at the start of the season when we made the guess. I had Man United and Chelsea in different order, and I had Liverpool just sneaking in there. Now, that could change. We know Tottenham had a very good performance today, and Harry Kane was absolutely fantastic. We know Burnley had a good point at Old Trafford. It could have been 3. Leicester have got an experienced manager, and they expect them to be between that 8th and 10th spot. But the big talking point really is the gap between the 2 Manchester clubs, which by the time it gets 24, 48 hours down the road, it could be 15 points. So, I mean, let's be honest, if we put Man United in with Chelsea as the main protagonists to take on Man City this year, although Chelsea won today, the 2 of them are falling over themselves to see who can be at the Man City Championship party, which could be as early as, I don't know, at this rate, end of March, beginning of April. I don't know what the records are for the earliest Premier League title win, but expect this to be pretty much up there.
At least we have a race for second, right? I suppose that's where all the excitement is, in the Premier League. Back into our ESPN FC studios, Alexis Nunez here with Paul Mariner, Shaka Hislop, and Craig Burley. We're talking about the FC 100 Manchester United players. All of these Man United players made it into the FC 100. I'm talking about David De Gea, Antonio Valencia, Paul Pogba, Henrik Mkhitaryan, Marcus Rashford, and Romelu Lukaku.
Right. How come you come here
What's
and
the story
have us
here?
talk
Oh
about
God,
Manchester
why are you
United?
turning against me, Shaka? This is just what
why
I've been told
everything you
by our
do
producers.
has to be
do.
Manchester
Do these players
United
deserve
centric?
to be in our FC
hold on,
100?
there's 100 players
Yes.
in this list, which we're going to go through at some point. I haven't got time to talk to you about it. And just lo and behold,
Ooh, tell us how you really feel.
Man United, it's how many Man United players are in it? Yeah?
Quite a few.
Yes.
Yeah. Where's this come from? I want to know before I'm doing this.
Not me. I don't choose these.
Does that
I
come-
wish I could choose them, but
Does this come from editorial again downstairs? This is
and
like
I know you
this is
love
like
it.
the team of the week on a Monday. It's always got to have Man
that's our
United
little
in.
segments.
Can we put the graphic up again, please?
All right, so let's start off. Let's go with this out. David De Gea, Antonio Valencia, Paul Pogba, Mkhitaryan, Rashford,
I don't know,
Lukaku.
because I don't know the other. How many is that you've mentioned?
6.
I don't know the other 94.
But do any of these you think would not make
Well, I don't
your
know the other
100
94,
then?
so it's
But, all right.
subjective.
Mkhitaryan hasn't featured a whole lot this season, and when he has, I don't think he said the word alight. So to put him in the top 100, I think potentially yes, no question. But just what we've seen of him of late, no. The others I have absolutely no problem with at all.
I think the thing with Mkhitaryan is, you know, he's in between, isn't he? He's not really started, he's not played great when he has played. So I agree with Shaq. I think that he is the one person that you would pick out immediately from that list. The other lads, has Rashford done enough to be in the top 100?
I'd have him.
I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, well,
Based on what he's done so far?
I'm not sure about that. I
Top
mean,
100 what?
footballers.
Top 100 what?
Everybody,
Footballers.
Football, everybody, all positions, clearly.
So,
David
I
De Gea,
mean, look, the
This could
simple
be-
answer
and all the
is...
things we've done over the past, this is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. Seriously. And I'm serious.
Maris, you're not Lukaku's biggest fan. He's in there. I'm surprised you didn't pull him out.
No, because he's been scoring goals for him, hasn't he? I mean, the thing is, when Lukaku went... Look, I'm not a big fan. I think technically...
He did have a bit of a dip.
No, I'll always have a dig at Lukaku because he doesn't do enough for me. But having said that, the service that he gets at Manchester United, if you look at how many chances he needs to put the ball in the back of the net, he should do better. And I think most people will say that if you're judging, you know, top £100 million players, then he should do better.
Do you know
That's all I'm saying.
Do you know the 94... Do you know that... And I bet I know the answer to this. Do any of you know the other 94 players that are in this list?
Starts with N, ends in no.
Right. Do any of you
No.
Do you presume
No.
there are players that are potentially not in this list of 100 that might be in there?
No.
Potentially. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right. So, how can this question be answered? I'm being serious now.
In any
'Cause
top 100
if somebody's going to put a stupid question together, then I'm going to take it apart. Right?
Which
It's an
Would
impo-
these
it's an
players
impo-
make your top 100
Top
list?
100 of what?
Of just players in the world. Footballers, your top
Do you
100
think I've got time
best
enough
players.
to sit and think about a top 100 players in the world off the bat?
I think we might
Seriously?
I think we've hit a nerve.
I mean,
It's-
well, your family's away for vacation now. Your
I know,
son's
but
locked
I
in
mean,
his room.
I'm happy to
so you've
answer
got lots
normal
of time on your
questions.
hands.
But if somebody's going to put together something that's incredibly stupid, then I'm going to pick it apart. And that's the bottom line. So I don't know the other 94 players. I don't know who might be in the top 100 that's not in it. So how can I answer the question?
Would they make your top 100?
Stop asking me.
I mean, it's winter time. You won't be able to
There's
play
kids
golf.
here.
You won't be able to play golf, so you might as well come up with a top 100. We should
I'll tell
have
you
a Craig Burley top
I
100.
say, well, give me time. I'll come up with one.
They'll be all Scottish.
I'll have it for you on your desk tomorrow morning. There you go.
No, you
I'm
won't.
not
Correct.
interested.
No, you won't. No, you
I'm
won't.
watching the cricket
All
tonight.
right, well, if you ever miss a show, and trust me, you don't want to because Craig Burley's on it, just download our podcast on iTunes.
United have the least number of days off during the festive period compared to any other side in the Premier League. This is a very objective piece full of facts from United. It's not subjective at all. Shaka, do you have any sympathy for United?
No. 12 months ago, we heard exactly this from Jurgen Klopp, and I had no sympathy for Jurgen Klopp then either. I mean, I'm a year older and a year wiser, but still a year just as stubborn. I'm absolutely not at all.
They've got a point, though, haven't they?
Do they?
Of course.
No, they don't.
It's been going on forever, though, Dan. I mean, since the game started, this is the key.
Just because it's been going on forever doesn't mean...
Well, how are you going to change it then? So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Extend the season? There's a World Cup coming up. They can't do that. So it's been going on forever. You've got a massive squad. Every squad gets injuries. So you've got to be able to cope with it. How do you do it? You manage your training, you manage what you're doing in training with the lads, and then you've got to get through it.
The reason Manchester United will not win the Premier League this year is not going to be because of whatever, the Christmas schedule, the festive period schedule. It's already done. It's already too late. So whatever complaint you're having about how this is going to affect you going in the future, it doesn't matter. It's a moot point. You are already 11 points behind, and that had nothing to do with the festive period. I don't think there's anything here for Manchester United to complain about.
Manchester United have been given a B. Gab Marcotti, is that correct?
I don't have a huge problem with this at all. We can all identify situations where United can play better, but it's a quantum improvement over where they finished last season, where they were last season for much of the year, and it's not their fault. City are so much better, so. Yeah, I'd give them a B or B minus with the urging that they can and must improve.
I'd go a little bit higher. I'd go B plus. I think despite the comparisons with Manchester City, who were just running away with the league, and despite the criticism of their style at times, United keep getting the job done. And you only have to look at the league table to say exactly how good that is. Top of the group in the Champions League. So maybe, against the backdrop of City, you can see a B or maybe lower. But just in the overall perspective of how the season has gone, I don't think you could ask for a whole lot more.
I'm with Shaka on this. I mean, Manchester United couldn't get in the top four last year. Now they're comfortably sitting in second. They're comfortably through to the knockout stages of the Champions League. So it has to be higher than a B.
All right, then. The boys say Manchester United maybe deserve a B plus for the start of the season.
Henrik Mkhitaryan, that is a player that definitely gets me excited, along with many people around the world, Jose Mourinho included. But Jose Mourinho says, Shaka, that he wants more from the Armenian. He wants him to be more of a creative force because he doesn't feel he delivers as much against the top 6 or top 4 teams in the Premier League. Do you see what he means with that?
Look, on face value of this comment, I want to say, Jose, what are you saying? Why go after Henrik Mkhitaryan this way?
Exactly.
On face value, that's what I want to see. But the thing is, when it comes to management and good management, a huge portion of that is man management. And as much as Jose Mourinho has gotten a lot of it wrong since arriving at Old Trafford, nobody needs to remind me of how he handles Smalling, etc., etc. What he has done, he's got the best out of Mkhitaryan.
Yes.
Ever since Mkhitaryan arrived and he shunted Mkhitaryan to the side and wasn't playing and questioned his commitment and questioned a number of things, Mkhitaryan's response was sterling. And I have to say, as much as I criticized Mourinho and what he said at the time, he got the best out of Henrik Mkhitaryan. And this time around, again, on face value, I'm tempted to criticize Jose Mourinho for what he's saying about Henrik Mkhitaryan. But given the success that he had with him first time around, I think Jose Mourinho just understands Mkhitaryan as a player, as a person, better than anybody else, and understands what to get the best out of him. So, again, on face value, I'm saying, Jose, what you're doing, but as I look deeper at this, you can't criticize Jose Mourinho. I think he knows the player and will get the best of the player. Henrik Mkhitaryan will respond.
Is that one of the criticisms that you have, though, of Mkhitaryan, that he probably doesn't show up as much against some of the bigger teams?
No, I see no reason to criticize him. I think he's been an outstanding talent and an outstanding acquisition ever since arriving at Old Trafford. Now, I'm sure you could judge up stats and say that Mkhitaryan doesn't show up against some of the bigger teams. You could slice and dice this whichever way. The fact of the matter is, Manchester United have been up and down and inconsistent for the last few years. So it's just kind of reflective of the team, and I don't necessarily put that squarely on the feet of one player. That's just totally unfair.
All right, thanks so much, Shaka Hislop. So, Shaka, while not necessarily agreeing with Jose Mourinho's criticism, Jose does know Mkhitaryan a lot better.
This time I'm agreeing.
A lot better than we do. Accompanied by Stevie Nicol, talking Manchester United, specifically Marcus Rashford. A lot is made of this youngster at Man United, Stevie Nicol, but will this season be his time to flourish? It's looking hard, especially with the arrival of Lukaku.
Yeah, I think it depends on where Mourinho plays him. I would love to see a front two of Rashford and Lukaku. I think that would be exciting if I was a Manchester United fan.
But Jose doesn't do that. I don't think he's ever done that.
Well, he doesn't, and that means that there's no question Lukaku starts. That means that Rashford is going to play in a wider position. Is he going to get better? Yes, he is, because the kid has talent. He's got good football smarts. He just needs more experience. But playing wide, I think, takes away a little from what he has. Yes, he has pace, but full-backs can take him down corridors that he doesn't want to go. If he's playing up in the middle of the park, listen, the whole field's his oyster for me. So, will he get better? Absolutely. Should he play in the front two? I think that would suit Rashford down to the ground. And I think it would help Lukaku as well.
You might need to call Jose Mourinho up, but if it's one thing we know about Jose, he's a stubborn man set in his way, so not sure if that's going to happen. So what's the kid to do, really and truly? Because last season, I remember we spoke about this with Shaka Hislop, and he said last season was the season he needed to put his hand up and be that main man for Manchester United, especially after Zlatan's injury. Now with Lukaku coming, like, what else is he going to do?
He has to knuckle down and get on with it. And
Should he just shut up and go where Mourinho tells him to go?
Guess what? Everybody shuts up and does what Mourinho tells them to do, whether they like it or not. He's a young kid. He's not going to rock the boat. He just wants to play right now. All thoughts of where I should play and what's he doing.
Will that stifle his growth?
At that age, that's not what you think. Will it stifle his growth? I think it does stifle him a little bit when he plays in a wider position. I prefer to see him through the middle. But the Lukaku signing, and if he only plays one up front, guess who's playing? Lukaku. So, for me, plays two. Doesn't look like it. He's going to play wide. Will he be better? Yes. Will he reach his peak in that position? Not for me.
All right, thanks so much, Stevie Nicol. I know that took a lot for you to say because you're a massive fan of Lukaku, but we'll continue tracking both Lukaku and Rashford this season here.
Transfer Rater, we begin, Shaka Hislop, with Henrik Mkhitaryan, who doesn't appear to be part of the long-term plans under Jose Mourinho.
Nope. You see Mkhitaryan probably going the same way that Shinji Kagawa did. I'm going to put that down as a hit.
Yeah, I can see why, because they're a club who love him, and he left them, but they take him back. Wilfried Zaha to Man City. This was in the press this morning.
This is an interesting one because I really like Zaha, and it's beyond me how things didn't work out for him at Manchester United. The issue is, how do you improve on Manchester City? I'm going to put this down as a miss, only because I just feel City are that good. Maybe he has second thoughts about fitting in, his long-term prospects. Not that I don't think he can, I just think maybe he wants another step before getting to City.
This next one's a bit bizarre.
Yeah. That doesn't make any kind of sense to me at all. I don't know. I don't know who came up with that.
Probably an agent or something like that. Yeah. We haven't got a club for him to go to, so a nice easy one. Will he leave Manchester United in the next few months?
In the next few months, I'm going to put this down as no.
You think he'll sign a new deal?
I do.
Okay.
Saying that, I don't think Fellaini is a Manchester United player, not the Manchester United that I know, or remember, I should say. But he signed a couple of extensions over the last couple of years, which again left me bemused. I don't see Jose Mourinho putting me out to pasture just yet, so to speak.
So he comes to my side.
Okay, you have him.
Thank you.
I'll have Griezmann.
Well, this one we know has got substance because Atleti are going to report Barca for illegally tapping him up.
This, yeah, and that aside, given Barca's approach to Philippe Coutinho last summer, 150 million somehow turned down by Liverpool, that doesn't make sense. Now, if Liverpool set their stall out and don't want to do business, Griezmann is a close number 2, for want of a better expression. We had this discussion whether you'd have Coutinho or Griezmann on FC the other day. Griezmann was a very close second to Coutinho. If they can't get Coutinho, I'll happily settle with Griezmann.
Before we end, can they have both?
Yeah, I absolutely do not see why not.
So Suarez, Messi, Griezmann, Coutinho. If you're a defender in La Liga next season?
All the best.
Yeah. Sit alongside Shaka Hislop. And Shaq, let's start with Batshuayi, who stayed on the bench to begin with, even although Morata was injured for Chelsea. That's got to tell him something. Time for him to go?
Yeah, without question. And I think Monaco could do with a striker, obviously not hitting the heights that they did last season. I think this will be a welcome addition, but more to the point, Batshuayi has got to the Stamford Bridge if he's hoping to get the type of football I'm sure he wants.
Seems to be every day on the transfer radar that Mesut Ozil features. Sometimes it's to leave Arsenal. Now, Manchester United. Is there a chance of that happening?
Oh, this has been going on for quite some time. I think there is a chance. I actually don't think it happens in January, but I'll put it down as a chance.
Okay.
And say it happens.
Now, I want to combine the next two because Shaw is likely to leave if Rose arrives. What's more likely, or do you think they've both got a good chance?
I think Shaw is likely to leave. Jose Mourinho, as much as he started him a bit of late, I don't think he's ever been a fan. Newcastle would have him gladly. And probably that fresh start is exactly what Luke Shaw needs. Danny Rose, he had a few things to say earlier on in the season when he was injured after Kyle Walker left and criticised Tottenham's transfer policy. I thought the right thing was the door for Danny Rose. I think it'd be a welcome addition going to Manchester United. The thing with this transfer, though, is I feel like Luke Young has been very good on the left-hand side of defence. For
Ashley Young.
Ashley Young. Luke Young. Ashley Young. Rose, 5 years younger than Ashley Young. So it makes some sense in that regard, saying that as of where we are right now, I don't think Danny Rose is an upgrade on Ashley Young.
Well, they have options
Or
there.
Luke Young.
No, I mean, you and I did Eredivisie for a number of years. Daley Blind can play there. Marcus Rojo can play there as well. But I think with Ben Davies doing so well at Spurs, I think Rose is on his way. Now, Alexis Sanchez, PSG.
Well, Sanchez linked with PSG and Manchester City. I thought the Manchester City link was the stronger one and the more likely to happen. PSG, I'm not so sure. As much as I think Alexis Sanchez graces any team, I just not sure where he fits in PSG as it stands right now. And I just feel that given the interest of Manchester City earlier on in the season, that is the more likely destination.
Arsenal would rather he went to France than to a rival.
I'm sure he would, but it's not up to Arsenal if his contract expires in the summer.
Well, it's Arsenal's fault for allowing this to happen. 4 hits and 1 miss for Xhaka today on the transfer radar.